Hey guys, this is Shreyas and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to go through a laptop review. So over here I have got with myself the Lenovo Yoga 7i. Now this is a very interesting laptop and a thin and light. Actually it does qualify as an ultrabook even by Intel standards, so let's get with it. Alright, so these have a lot of SKUs. It does also come with the i5 1135 G7 as well, which is again 4 cores 8 threads but have a lower clock speed, and in that variant you do have an 8 GB RAM variant. So the model which I have with myself over here is the top tier model. It comes with the 1165 G7, which is a 4 core 8 thread processor, but it is clocked higher. Not just that, it also comes with 16 GB of RAM instead of 8 GB RAM, which are found in the other variants. By the way, if you're interested in buying either of these laptops, I'll make sure to link them down below so you can check it out from there. The problem with ultrabooks or thin and lights in general is that they come with LPDDR4 RAM, which is low powered, and these RAMs are usually soldered onto the PCB and the motherboard inside, so you can't really upgrade it down the line. So in a thin and light, it is usually the pattern that you have to take it with a particular configuration of RAM. Most of the variants of any other laptop which are thin and light do not have 16 GB RAM variants easily available, so that is a great thing in this particular laptop. And if you're interested in more tech videos and mostly laptop reviews, you should definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you're notified so that you find out when I bring you other reviews on the channel as well. So with that said, this is Shreyas and let's check that out. Alright, so this is the Lenovo 7i. Now I stands for the Intel variants throughout Lenovo's lineup, and this is the Yoga. So this is an ultrabook variant and it does come with the Intel Evo platform. What does this Intel Evo certification mean? It means that it comes with the latest Intel 11th gen processors. In this case it's the 1165 G7, which is a quad core processor with 8 threads. Not just that, it should have instant wake up times under a second when you open the lid or you press the power button, even if it is shut down. Next, it should have Wi-Fi 6 built in, it should have Thunderbolt 4 ports, and it should come with Intel's own Xe graphics. So when you see an Intel Evo sticker, you get all these guaranteed because these laptops go to Intel, get their own testing done, and then get the certification. Now let's come to the build and design first. I really like the design, honestly. There's not a lot going on at the back of the laptop. You have a small Lenovo logo over here and a Yoga branding over here. Pretty minimal in my opinion, which I do admire in these kind of laptops. And the best part is that this is an all metal build. Everything from the lid to the chassis to the palm rest is made out of metal, which is a great thing, and it feels really premium in the hand. Another thing is that it does not get fingerprints very easily. I have used it. You can see almost no fingerprints here. The HP Envy I used last time and I reviewed it. You can check out the review probably over here or over here, and that used to attract a lot of fingerprints in my opinion. This material is really nice. Thankfully did not attract any fingerprints to my surprise. Alright, moving on. The hinge is well made, but again there's a party trick over here. This is a 2-in-1, so it converts very easily and has no problems. Alright, so now that it is a 2-in-1, it does go all the way around and can be used as in tablet mode as well, which is really nice. But the only problem with that is that it does not pass the one hand opening test because the hinge is a bit tight, which is understandable given that this has to swivel around a lot and be in its place when you put it at a certain angle. And you get a slight wobble over here. If you are keeping it on your lap and typing, it does wobble a bit, but nothing too aggressive. But if you're working on a table, I did not notice any wobble which would hinder with your work. Now moving on, let's go to the display. So this comes with a 300 nit display, which is something I would have preferred to be 400 nits at least, if not more, given that this particular variant is almost 95,000 rupees. According to their website, it covers only around 72% of the NTSC color gamut, which is not great. And the color performance could have been a bit better. I am not really impressed given the price. If this was around 70,000 or something, I wouldn't have really complained about it. The brightness is adequate for indoor, and outdoor use it would depend because this is a glossy screen, because this is a touch screen as well, so reflections could hinder with your work. And since this is a 300 nit display, that's something you should keep in mind if you're planning to work outside with this particular laptop. But otherwise the display is good and big enough in my opinion. Also, the display is covered with glass because this is a touchscreen and plastic would end up getting scratched very easily. So it says on the website it's Dragontrail glass. I'm not really sure how or what it is, but I'm pretty sure that when you're using it with your fingers or just the pen included, it should not pose any problems, because I used it and there was nothing that I noticed and it was very smooth. Now the other part of the display is the touch functionality. Now since this is a 60Hz display only, the response is accordingly. I mentioned this in my HP NV14 review as well. You cannot match it with those of your iPads or high-end tablets with high refresh and high response times, but it works really well. I did not have any problem personally, so I tried out the pen as well, which worked very well with the display. So I was really happy with the touch input and the interface. It did really help. Coming to that, the pen is well built. I could not figure out where the batteries go in this, and I didn't really try to experiment with it since it's not mine. So you have an app called as Lenovo Pen Settings over here, where you can configure the tabs over here in this, and this is a Bluetooth pen, so even hovering gestures do work out and you can click without even touching the screen with the help of these buttons if you configure them in such a way. This really gave me, Samsung Note series vibes, which you could do because they also came with a Bluetooth pen and had those hovering features. And overall, the ergonomics of the pen is really nice because it actually replicates a standard pen. This has a 720p webcam, and now let me just jump into the webcam of the laptop and show you how it looks. Alright, so now we are in the webcam of this Lenovo 7i. It's a 720p webcam. This is the condition with all Windows laptops in general. Not the greatest, a lot of grain going on, although I have pretty good lighting around here. Back to the video. Now coming to the speakers. Now this has dedicated places on the laptop chassis for the front firing speakers, which is really huge as per the grills on the laptop chassis, and they sound really good as well. Now again, bass response is close to none. It is very slightly there, so let's not expect MacBook levels of bass. And if you compare with other Windows laptops, I'm really happy because the trebles and the mids are handled really well. There is no distortion in my experience. The speakers are a huge plus point for this laptop. I loved watching movies and videos on this, but what happens with that is because the grills are on the two sides, the chassis size increases a little more. I think because of the speaker arrangement that comes in with the port selection and how the ports are arranged on the laptop. So let's talk about the ports on the laptop now. So this laptop comes with very few number of ports, unfortunately. So we have a USB-A on the right side of the laptop, which will get occupied if you use the pen holder and you really don't have another way of using a USB type A because there's only one. It comes with two Thunderbolt 4 ports, as I mentioned about the Evo platform. These are really fast, good, and both can be used for charging. It also comes with a mic and audio jack combo. So you just effectively have 3 ports. So although these are Thunderbolt ports, you can obviously connect it to a Thunderbolt capable monitor. You can also get Ethernet capabilities if you connect it to a Thunderbolt certified dock. So that's how you can get away with the lack of ports, I believe. Now one thing which I really admire is that Lenovo includes a 65 watt charging brick in the box, which is really compact. I have no complaints against it, and it comes with a USB Type-C cable. Now this is a huge win in my opinion. In the last HP NV14 which I reviewed, it came with its own barrel plug connector in the laptop, and the charger was barrel type as well, although it could support USB Type-C charging. So there are two sides to this. If you have other devices which support PD charging, Pixel 4a, OnePlus 9 Pro, Tab S7 Plus all charge with this particular PD charger. Not just that, in case you forget this, I could charge up at the same speed using my OnePlus Watt Charge 65 adapter as well. Also, I have another 65 gallium nitride charger. If you want to find out about those chargers, I'll link them below in case you want to buy any, and it charged the laptop completely in full speed. So that's a good thing in my opinion. I really appreciate adopting USB-C and power delivery standards of charging and including similar power bricks in the box. Now let's talk about charging and battery. Now battery life has been pretty good actually. This comes with a huge 76 watt-hour battery, which the increased chassis size I think helped fit in, because it's not that easy to fit in such a huge battery in such a chassis, and the battery performance is good. I got an average of 8.5 to 9 hours of usage. Now, let me tell you how I tested this. I set the performance mode to better battery, and I set this based on when I would feel anything slow down or jitter. Now, in the most battery saving mode, it turns down the screen brightness even more, so I did not go there. So I set it to better battery and I used it for hours. 9 hours was something very comfortable. At times, I did get around 8 hours. So a full day battery life is something I will be confident about with this particular laptop. So that's great. And charging times are very fast. The first 30 minutes you can charge up to at least 40-50%, which is great in terms of laptop standards. And I am happy with the charging times as well. Not just that, the charging times are replicated even when I used another PD charger, as I mentioned. So that's great. Alright, so another thing which is very important is the trackpad and the keyboard. Now I have to say I am a fan of Lenovo keyboards in general, and this laptop is no exception. This is the best keyboard I have tried in a thin and light according to my taste. Now I know that a lot of people have different kind of requirements or expectations from a keyboard. I like keyboards usually which are a bit more clicky and have a bit of a travel, and this had both. I had no issues in terms of finding out if I missed out on a keystroke or not, and that's really great. I really admire the keyboard, and the layout is very good as well. So I'm a huge fan of the keyboard. If you want to listen to how it sounds, here's a quick keyboard sound test for you guys. Coming to the trackpad is big as well. Could be a bit wider given how much space is available, but it's really tall and I admire that. So the increased chassis size is being well used with good quality speakers, an excellent layout for the keyboard and a well-sized trackpad, and I'm really happy about that. The trackpad uses Windows Precision drivers, is a glass top, loved using it, and has very tactile clicks like. So yeah, with the keyboard trackpad fundamentals, I'm really happy with the Lenovo Yoga 7i. Now let's get to the main part of the laptop, which is the performance. Now the performance is something that I want to dive a bit deep so that you guys understand. First of all, the XE graphics are included in this laptop. So if you're planning to do esports titles like Rocket League, CSGO, Valorant, etc., I tried a couple of them out, which is CSGO and Valorant. The gameplay is good. You might not be able to play smoothly at 60 FPS with the highest settings because the 1% lows are very drastic. If you turn down a couple of dials to medium or something, it runs really well. You get an average of 45 to 60 FPS, which is playable and very good for this thin and light kind of structure. So I'm really happy about the XE graphics which are included in these laptops, and then Intel is pushing with their Tiger Lake architecture in their 11th gen CPUs. Now coming to day-to-day tasks, I had no problems. This is a really fast processor, enough for your multiple Google tabs, etc. Also, given that the model I have has 16 GB of RAM, I had no problem in RAM management. Watching movies and stuff really does not do anything in it. When I was doing benchmarks like something like Cinebench R23, it was doing a lot and stressing the CPU, and that's where I found a bit of trouble. Now again, take note that I'm stressing the laptop with benchmarks, so it's trying to push it to its limit, but that's where this laptop was going to throttle. This does go up to 4.2 to 4.3 GHz if I'm correct, but I saw dips around 3.7 to 3.8 GHz because it could not manage the thermal limit. And that's my problem with the Intel 11th gen processors and Intel processors in general. The thermal efficiency is not that great. That's why accommodating it in a thin and light is very tough, although they are pushing this Tiger Lake architecture for thin and lights in general. But really, Lenovo cannot stuff a lot of thermal solutions into this because it will make it both heavy and bigger or thicker. Now again, for day-to-day tasks, for your documents, browsers, research, etc., this will cause no problems. But when you're gaming, for example, when your single core is being pushed to its limit, it does tend to thermal throttle a bit, and that's why the 1% lows have a huge dip from the average FPS you get in games. In other things, if you try to run Premiere Pro while rendering, just while exporting the video and while rendering, that's when you see that the upper limit of this thermal envelope is being pushed. It has a good cooling solution in my opinion, because none of the heat travels towards the keyboard, and even the lap, it's pretty much comfortable in my opinion. So if you're doing heavy tasks, I would recommend not to use it on your lap because that time it does get toasty, and internally it's reaching junction temperatures of around 100 degrees. I have seen it in my testing. But overall, for what it is and what ultrabooks are made for, I think this should suffice very well given the tips I have mentioned in the video. So alright, that's kind of it for this particular video. This was the Lenovo's Yoga 7i. Let me know down in the comments how you found this video and if you have any particular questions around this particular laptop. I hope you like this video and I hope I can bring you more laptop reviews in the coming future as well. Thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you in the next video.